Do another one for Easter.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this meeting of Shepreth Parish Council. Just a bit of housekeeping. I have to inform you that it's being videoed tonight and also recorded by Parish Council. I have one apology for absence, who is Sean, who gave apologies today. I've got no others. I'm going to break with things a little bit now, just to say something. Many of you may well have known John Smith, who sadly passed away on Christmas Day. And it was a big day in the village today because it was his funeral. He was on the parish council and chair of the parish council, and Cyril would just like to say a few words before we start.
Thank you. I had to write it down because I wanted to just talk about it, just to get it right. I think we'd like to take a few moments here to remember and pay a tribute to John Smith, whose funeral took place today in Shepreth Church this afternoon. John was thoroughly dedicated to Shepreth. And one of the ways he contributed to village life was serving for many years as the parish councillor, several of them as chairman. The one special event that took place whilst John was in the chair was the commissioning and erection of our village sign, which now stands proudly in the centre of the village, near the walking road. Thank you.
Thank you, Cyril. Thank you. I know that he was a very good friend of yours, and very good friend of many people in the village, and he'll be sadly missed. And I think if we could write to his wife on behalf of the parish council, just offering our condolences, I think that would be quite nice. Sorry to break in there, but I think that's worth remembering. Okay, 388, to receive declarations of interest from councillors on any matters arising. I'd like personally to declare an interest in item 396, the second planning application for discussion, which is 18 Angle Lane, as I live in that part of Angle Lane and it's one door away from me. I'll leave the room at that stage, and Richard has kindly offered to take the chair. Any other declarations of interest?
Yeah, I think I ought to declare one as far as the planning application of Shepreth Wildlife Park is concerned, as I have Buckland.
Okay. Any other declarations of interest? Oh, okay. Item 389, to approve the minutes of the meeting of 11th of December, to sign off. Are we all happy for me to approve and sign these minutes? Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah? Okay. Sorry, you're all running out of room.
Yeah, we're fine.
You alright?
I'm standing with Amy this evening. Sorry, thank you.
We're getting more popular. Okay, 390, update on any decisions and actions from the previous meeting. I've got one. There was a meeting of the summer fair. You may recall that we were talking about making the summer fair a working party stroke subcommittee of the parish council for obvious reasons. It saves money. The summer fair committee are happy for us to do that. So I would like to propose that we make the summer fair a subcommittee stroke working party of the parish council, and we'll report to the parish council every month on progress with regard to the summer fair. Any comments on that?
Can I ask one question?
Yes, sir.
So now it's going to be run by the parish?
Yes. Well, it's run by, technically it's run by us anyhow, because it's the same people on the summer fair committees on the parish council.
The money that the summer fairs had or got, would that be transferred into the parish?
No, it can stay separate on the summer fair.
But it was run by the parish, so we'd know what was happening.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Deduction of obviously the money that's already been promised from past years. Will that come forward before us?
Well, the money that was promised for the playground equipment was basically offered to the parish council. And the deal was that when the parish council got the money together for the playground equipment, let us know and we'll give you our money. The parish council had never got the money together for that playground equipment. Oh, this is why
I was on the other side of the fence.
yeah, no, this is why we'll come to it later when we've got Open Gardens. Because if you recall, Open Gardens gave £1,000 towards this, which they gave to the parish council. We've actually got in our account at the moment, and they're questioning, well, why haven't we done anything with it? Exactly the same thing.
It was £3,000.
It was £3,000, yeah, that was the deal.
For
the new playground equipment that they were trying to raise money for and look into getting some grants for, which all fizzled out basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the only question, because I was on the other side of the bench for no luck.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Any other questions on that? So can we take a vote on that? I propose that we make that a subcommittee stroke working party of the parish council. Do I have a second on that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, those for? Those against? Okay.
That's all forward.
The only other things I've got, Cyril, you were looking at this, for want of a better word, pagoda, wooden structure,
Yes, I have looked at that seriously.
and you think that's a bit bigger job than we thought?
Well, it's a bit bigger job than for me and Harold, I think.
Right.
Okay.
There's about 5 sheets of wood missing off the top, and they're toned and grooved, and they're not ordinary toned and grooved. I mean, they must have been made specially for that when it was done. So I don't know. I have yet to go. I went over there Christmas morning, retrieved.
You know how to spend your Christmas, don't you?
Yeah, that's right. I forgot to look to see if there's a name on it, you know, a maker's name or something.
There's one piece of that wood on top of the container.
And there's one piece lying at the back of the,
Yeah.
or was, but maybe that's got on top, I don't
Because
know.
I was putting them on top
But,
of it.
Do you think it needs a new roof?
No,
Just
no, it needs about 5 slats, and then the piece I fixed to underneath that go up like that. But I mean, that's
so a good
just
chip
an
you should
ordinary
be able
piece
to
of
do.
wood. Yes, 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 yes. I'm sure me and Harold could do it, but we might not get the right slats, you know what I mean, to make it. Perhaps there is, can we just leave that for 5 minutes?
But it would not be in the past records.
Do-
So
do-
I don't know where it come from.
Do you not think we should just get somebody to look at it and give us some quotations on repairing it as well? Well, it's up to you. You know,
I can fix it, but not next week. You know, not immediately, because I have to find out where this wood come from, or where you can get it from. I don't know. I'm not implementing them sort of things. My money's just saying it's not that difficult.
if we put wheels on it, would it make it easier?
Yeah, probably would, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we should leave Sylv to look at
If
it
you'd
in
like
the
me to
meantime.
fix it, I will.
It's up to you, sir. You know.
Yeah,
you,
I'll do it, and just leave it to me.
are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
All right then. And we're also looking at the slide, weren't we? There were some questions on the steps on the
You
slide.
was going to talk to me about that,
Yeah.
but we've never got
We
together.
were getting together because of Christmas. And
Oh, okay, fine. All right.
There's
So
lots of things to do, and I have been, well, you know where I've been, but
yeah. Yeah, okay, no, okay, so perhaps you can get together and, yeah, have a look at that, so leave that with you, okay. The only other thing, this wasn't from the last meeting, but you brought it up, Cyril, was about the power in the telephone box, because we got a quotation there, didn't we, and
yeah.
there's an engineer to come out and look at it, and they want about 100 and
Yeah.
something,
So
170
that's only
quid
if we
to
complete.
To look at it or mend it?
look at it,
Ah,
to look at it,
so you could be into something else then?
yeah.
No.
Pardon?
My comment is no, I wouldn't spend it.
No, I understand that, no.
Who is this? Is it UK Power coming out on a
Okay,
standard?
No, I think it was, as far as I'm aware, it was just to see, they were going to come and check it, but it was, we need to ascertain first whether there's actually any power, if we can find out if there's any power to telephone boxes. The call-out fee would only be made if they came out for nothing, do you know what I mean?
I had a look,
Yeah.
because I took
We had
that,
to check,
plate
double
off.
check,
I took that
yeah.
plate off. I don't think there's any power coming to that phone
Well, then
box.
they'll come out
Somebody's
without
disconnected it.
Because they've disconnected it then.
Right.
Somebody's realised that that light's been on for ever, and it's being paid for by British Telecom or whoever's paying for it, and it's been disconnected. So I think the power's actually been disconnected.
So when we adopted it from BT, they were in charge of having it disconnected, presumably. And
Yes,
they ordered that
and it took them
effectively.
5 or 6 or 7 years to disconnect it. Meanwhile, the light was on constantly.
So we haven't been charged for it as far as I'm aware.
No, I don't think we've ever had a bill for it.
But if they've got UK Power to disconnect it, and UK Power come and reconnect it, there's no charge because...
There'll be a charge.
There'll
be an ongoing charge.
There'll be an ongoing charge, but it won't be a...
£170
No, that won't, as far
won't
as
be
I'm aware,
charged
that
because
won't...
it's not
That's
our
right.
fault. It's
Yeah.
But we don't know that
We don't
until he
have to,
comes out and
yeah.
connects it, because
So
I'm not an
they- yeah.
electrician. I
They
mean,
said
I
get
just
an
don't think there's
electrician.
power running to
Yeah,
it.
to maybe have a look at it, if you know of anyone.
Do you know of any electricians in the village? Does anybody know of any electricians
I know electricians, they're not in the village. Something was,
that might come and have a look at it?
not for nothing.
No.
Electricians don't move for nothing.
Well, we've got one living in the village. Anyway. I think
Well,
it's something that perhaps an electrician can't even dig the floor up and say, well, the
they
problem's
check
it.
power, can't
Yeah,
they?
Yeah, but it's
They
just
check
to
whether
it's
there's
just
power
to
on.
ascertain whether there's power.
Yeah.
I stuck one of those screwdrivers in with
And it
lights.
didn't spark.
Well, there's probably no power.
I don't think it's power for it.
I don't know.
Shall I organise for the engineer to come out?
Well, the problem is if the engineer comes out, we get charged.
That's what I'm asking you. Would you like me to organise?
Do we need a light on in it?
Yeah.
That's the
I
next
can't remember
It's about
exactly. I haven't brought
107
notes
it was
with
about
me. It's on an email.
£170
I
on an email.
forward it to you.
Mm.
It'll be their standard light.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be their standard.
I think it's nice to have the light because it sort of strips up around it. And
It's more likely to get a problem, isn't it, if it's not got a light on it, theoretically.
well, I think before it was on like 24/7, which I don't know if you need that. I need it on.
Well, we changed the bulbs and everything, didn't we? We went all through changing the bulbs and took it all to bits and then taking it off, and I can't find
There's no
power.
sparks there. So.
And this is to enable people to read what books are available when it's dark.
When it's dark,
Not
yeah.
necessarily, it's just to light up and gives it a little bit of life, I think. Just there you go.
Well, I could have a chat with Mick Hills in Royston and see if he'll come and look at it for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll have a chat with Mick Hills and see if he'll come and look at it, yeah? And then I'll report back, yeah? Okay. Sorry, anybody else got any updates from the previous meeting?
Yes, something on street lighting. I had a chat with Balfour BT
Yeah.
yesterday as a resident, not as a councillor, because there's a number of lights around the village that aren't working. The holes have been filled in, but they're not working. And they said to me that the reason they filled the holes in is because something legally they had to fill them in over the Christmas period. But apparently they've got the next 6 weeks to mop up any issues around the district. That includes our village, Harston, all the other villages that had.
So they come and redig the holes again?
Apparently so.
They're going to be finishing at the end, aiming to finish at the end of January. That's what Keely said.
End of January they're going to take all the old ones out, the new ones in.
That's the plan.
One point, we were going to talk about reserves. I should have mentioned it's not on the agenda,
Yeah.
so presumably it can be taken forward.
We can put that on next month, yeah.
February.
Yeah. You're quite right. It was asked to be, and nobody picked it up when we sent out the draft agenda. Sorry. Any other updates or decisions or actions from the previous meeting?
I have one.
Yes.
With regards to the licence letters.
Oh yes.
I had a response from one of the residents inquiring about the letter, and then I haven't had a reply from the second, so I've issued another letter, so I'll let you know how that goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No problem.
There was one further thing, bank accounts. Are we going to switch, and when's that going to come up on the agenda?
Well, we'll put that on the agenda for next month as well then, because we need to switch those, don't we?
Yeah.
Because it makes a lot of sense. It makes life a lot simpler.
Well, we certainly should discuss it.
Yeah. Okay. Can we put that on?
Yeah, that's on.
Okay. Any other? No? Okay, public participation. Yes, sir.
I'd like Parish Council to ask the County Council rep why the residents of Shepreth are going 23 days without black bin connection from the 24th to the 16th or whatever it is. On a personal basis, I've been to the tip 3 times, taking black bay runners.
Can we get an answer here?
And
Yeah.
the other thing is,
Yeah.
some of our friends in Royston think it's hilarious because they've had continuous service through. I know we're talking about 2 different bodies.
North Hearts, isn't it? Yeah.
North Hearts, but they appear to be well organised and funding. and we pay our council tax, and we get shorted for almost 4 weeks. I'm sure that's breaking some contracts there somewhere.
We can ask the question. Do we have an answer on that?
It's a district council matter, so
Right.
it's my remit.
Right.
You're the second person who's brought this up with me in 24 hours, but that is just 2 so far. It may be that I'll have more. And I said to the person yesterday that I would find out more about it. I think we are just in one of Meldreth and Shepreth, because we have a similarly long layoff. We are on the cycle, having. When is the Shepreth collection in? Usually tomorrow. Yes, because we're Friday as well. Which is just calendar-wise missed out. I suspect that's the answer, but I haven't sought the answer. But now that I've been asked twice, I will seek the answer. As an overview, the service has been changed, as everybody knows, recently. And one of the reasons for that change is because we've amalgamated the service with the city, and we're working out of one depot. So all the rotas have changed, and there has been a certain scaling down. So it may also be owing to the scaling down. The comments I've had most regularly recently about the dropping of the fortnightly green bin. This is the first time I've had a couple of complaints about
So can you look into that and drop us an email, then we can send the email out to you with the response. Would that be okay? Sorry.
Can I just
You
say
do
something
mean the
on
black
this?
bin, Miss
Yeah.
Williams?
I mean black bin,
Black
yeah.
bin.
Black bin.
The dates on the black bin.
Because actually yesterday's query was
Well,
about the blue bins.
Okay, right.
I get it.
The bin was collected, our black bin was emptied on the 24th of December, and it reappears for next week on the 16th, and that's 23 days between that service, and we, as far as I'm concerned, we pay through the period. And as I say, I mentioned to a friend of ours in Worcester, and they laughed and they said no problem with our service at all. And I said I've been to the tip 3 times,
Right.
Royston, where they lovingly open your black bag and work
Check
their
it.
way through it. And I thought, well, this isn't right. Yeah.
But it was
So
according to the plan that was issued.
It's according to the plan that's issued.
Okay.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Okay, fine. Sorry, can you look into... Sorry, Teresa.
Can I just say that Radio Cambridgeshire did a piece on this yesterday. South Cam's chap head of environmental services said that they will collect all black bags left by the black bin next week. They will also collect any extra stuff that's been left by the blue bin and green bin tomorrow. That yes, it was down to cost cutting, and they have managed to save some money. You mentioned that they're doing it in conjunction with the City Council. Most of the complaints that the South Cams have received have been via Twitter or Facebook, so the social media has been used to put the complaints in. But the City Council, their collections haven't been affected.
They've not been affected.
The City Council's collections haven't been.
No.
They haven't been affected at all.
Okay.
So
I'll look into it.
Thank you, Philippa. Susan, sorry, did you have a comment on that?
I was only going to say that I think I've reported before, David, that these meetings that the recycling centre funding is very, very tenuous, and some people, Hertfordshire is also looking at possibly having to shut down recycling facilities, and I know I've reported that Triplo, is probably first in line to go. And some people have said they've had problems when they've taken their stuff to Royston, because it's actually in Hertfordshire where officially, we don't want them to be checking us, but I've had a couple of people reporting that they haven't been able to use that. So the cuts are actually they're everywhere.
Does that mean we're going to get a refund on the council tax?
I think we ought.
Oh, I don't know. That's something you'd have to take up, isn't it?
The cuts that you see in recycling are replicated in every single service across. I mean, you'd have to get you could talk all day about it.
Okay, but we'll look into that and report back. Yeah, that's fine.
The reason particularly I mention it is because I think we're faced with a similar situation next Christmas when the day falls.
Because it's going to fall the same, isn't it?
Could possibly.
Yeah, okay, no problem.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah,
Yes,
if
Mr.
we look at
Nichols.
solar power for the telephone box, might be cheaper than 170 quid.
Could do, absolutely, good idea. Never thought of that.
Let's go green.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, solar panel on the
No
roof.
pun there, wasn't it?
Good idea. Yeah. Actually, that's a good idea.
So there was no
That's a
pun
good
there
idea.
when Bob said, let's go green.
Yeah, well, you
That's
didn't
a
say
good
it.
idea, I like
No, somebody else beat you.
How much is a solar panel then?
I don't know, we'll look into it.
Solar lights aren't very dear, are they?
Yeah.
You can put more around your garden if you like to.
Yeah, we'll have a look at it. Good idea. Yeah, yeah. Mrs. Nichols.
Right, can you please let me know who was appointed to the HR committee when Mr. Kendrick resigned? I know you have to write to me, so I'll wait for that.
Yep.
Regarding the clerk's salary and the 19 hours she charged for just 1 week in October, earning her £221.54. The chairman told us her salary is £64.13. If this had been 8 hours, it would have been £93.28. Surely it is reasonable to have a detailed timesheet to account for this extra £128.26, because this is more than double with no explanation.
Okay,
Okay.
right, no problem. Anybody else?
You haven't done that.
Sir.
Hi, my name's Tom Naylor. I'm not a resident of Shepreth, but I come up here because submitted, although it hasn't been validated, a planning application for a greenhouse on a field between Shepreth and Meldrith, which the plans are on the radiator. Some people might have seen them. So in a way I've come here a little bit early because the planning application hasn't been validated, but in the sort of spirit of local democracy and be friendly and that sort of thing, I thought it'd be good to introduce myself.
We like that.
I give my card to Maria, who so if anyone wants to get in touch with me later or after the meeting, and depending on when the next meeting is, I'll try and come back if so when people have had a chance to look at the application on the council's website. But broadly, it's a sort of a very, well, I say very, a fairly high-tech greenhouse growing salad crops and herbs using LED lights with our power, both heat and electricity, generated on site. With, from a Shepreth point of view, hopefully approximately about a dozen jobs.
Sorry, can I just ask your surname again, please?
Naylor.
Thank you.
Know about LED lights then?
We could actually tap off of your self-generated power for our street lights and
Grow some lettuce.
yeah. And that planning application I think will be in front of us next month.
But we have a slight hitch, and we did apply before Christmas, but the council haven't validated it because we didn't do the flood risk assessment properly. So we've redone that. It's a very dry site actually, but we've redone it anyway.
I would like just to say from my point of view at this stage that I would have to stand down on this because I have been involved with the sale of that land and I would have to, as I say, declare an interest in that and take a back seat. Has anybody got any questions of Tom while he's here, because he just came along?
So I take it that land is Thomas's old field?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
God, be the second when he hadn't sold it.
Where exactly is it?
It's between Shepreth, it's opposite the,
By the railway.
it's opposite Elmore, it's between Shepreth and Meldrith.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. There's some plans over there if anybody wants to take a quick peek or whatever, and you'll leave them there for a couple of minutes before you disappear.
I'm going to go in about 2 or 3 minutes.
Fine. Any other?
Can we pass them round, Tom? Is that allowed?
Shall I just talk you everyone through it very
go
quickly?
ahead. Shall I move
Would that be okay for
Good idea.
If you want to talk us through it very quickly, that's absolutely fine.
Okay. It's probably easiest to just have a look. I mean, this one's the elevations, which may not. The greenhouse itself is about 40,000 square foot, which in terms of commercial greenhouses is actually extremely small, but obviously in terms of residential greenhouses it's very large. What's different about the greenhouse is that it's to eaves it's 6 metres, to ridge it's 9 metres, so it's quite tall. You can see the reason why it's quite tall is because there are 2 levels of growing. There's the bottom level and then there's the top level, and there's a mobile gully system, So the plants start off at the bottom level, sort of trundle along, go up in a lift, and then trundle back. And as they get to the height, to the top level, the gutters get further and further apart because the plants get larger, and then light comes through the gutters, supplemented by LED lights in the winter. And so basically, because we want to grow sort of tropical crops, when I say tropical, I mean things like basil, watercress is an interesting crop for us, those sort of crops, we're sort of using the light twice, in theory. I mean, it sounds a bit of a daft thing to say. But looking at the plan, if everyone can see, the greenhouse here, as I say, just under an acre. We've got a sort of, I mean, this has all been proposed to the district council. So this bit here is a sort of, we call it a wildflower meadow, but basically it's going to be sort of brought back into for the sort of, ecologically we're quite interested in sort of for the lizards and the snakes and the butterflies and that sort of thing. There's a proposal here for a log cabin because we need someone. The LEDs alone are going to cost between, well, around 400,000. So there's going to be a lot of expensive equipment in there, and we want someone to be on site both for security and for quick maintenance. Because we want to maintain an average temperature of about 20 degrees, if that temperature falls quickly and it goes to say 5 degrees, the whole thing's going to, all the plants are going to die. But this blue line here and to here is the road. There's 2 yards, as it were. This is where the sort of commercial dispatching and deliveries for the actual for the salads and the greenhouses are, and this there'll be an oil interceptor. We're going to be rainwater harvesting. There's a lagoon here because we'll be growing hydroponically, and so the whole thing is very. We hope that the crops will be carbon negative because we'll be using our own heat and power. In terms of this yard at the back, there's an anaerobic digester. The anaerobic digester will be taking in stuff like maize silage, horse manure is something we're particularly interested in, and green waste, all agricultural waste basically. This is the maize clamps, so that will sort of provide the power really during the winter when there is no green waste. There will be a biomass boiler to provide supplemental heat, and one thing we're very interested in, although I can't guarantee it, is most greenhouses, they get too hot in summer, and so they put a screen over, and we're interested in trying to do away with that and not have the screen and actually cool it. And so we can use heat through an absorption chiller to cool the greenhouse. It will be yeah, it does sound quite complicated. It will be a very innovative greenhouse. The thing is it's our own heat and power, and also basically someone might say, why don't you just, instead of growing on 2 levels, why don't you just double the size of the greenhouse? The reason we don't do that is because we want to minimise the surface area of the greenhouse, so we need less heating. It's all sort of chimes of the government sort of saying we need to insulate our houses and use less energy. So that's the idea, and that's gone into the local council, and we'll see what they say.
And the lights will be on 24 hours, is that?
No, in terms of the LEDs, what we're hopeful for is for the 4 months of summer, we won't need any LEDs on the ground floor at all. In the 4 months of winter, we'll need LEDs for the top floor and the ground floor. Obviously less on the top floor because the light's going to come through, and in the other 4 months the lights will be used for the ground floor, but hopefully not the top floor. I mean, it depends on a day-to-day basis because you're going to have sort of dark days and bright days even in December. But in terms of the LED sort of nuisance, light pollution, is what we've said in the planning application, is that sunset and sunrise will have blackout blinds that come down and shield the local, well, it would just shield the light.
Okay, thank you.
So if anyone wants
you'll be back to talk to us when...
Hopefully, yes.
Anybody got any questions just before? Right, sorry, yeah.
Who gets to eat the salad?
Well, the salad crops, the prices we've assumed are predicated on the wholesale markets. So the wholesale markets you get less than, say, selling to the supermarkets, but we haven't really sort of gone there yet. So the wholesale market is a genuine sort of buyers and sellers market, and it's just a market, you know, price.
Have you built elsewhere?
No, this is the first one.
First one out.
But we've got a site under offer near Oxford, so we're going to apply for planning permission there as well.
And another dumb question maybe, do you like the height being that bit higher so it's easier to pick when the product's finished? It's
Create their own climate, and it's easier to control the climate when the height is higher in any case. But in our case, we need that height to get the two levels.
It must be better than if you don't have to bend to pick up stuff. To get to this level.
I mean, actually, the whole thing's on a mobile gully system. So you plant, you germinate, and then once it's sort of germinate, and then you propagate. After about 7 days, depending on what the crop is, you put it in the machine, trundles on, trundles back.
Oh, so there's no picking.
And then it's all.
Mrs. Elliott, you've got a question.
Do you have a spare card?
Yes.
Please.
Yeah.
And will these lights be on all night?
No, well, no, actually, thank you for mentioning that. The plants sleep, most plants sleep for, say, 4 to 6 hours a night. So,
I was thinking that some houses quite nearby, not next door.
there's yes.
Some bright lights all night.
We're going to have
some people.
Yes, there would be night pollution, but that's why we put in blackout blinds.
So I've got a question.
Yeah.
So what traffic's going to be generated by this?
In terms of, so there'll be about 12 employees. So some of them will come by car, some of them might walk, some of them come by
Not
bus.
so much more the...
In terms of the vehicles we will have, we'll have one light goods vehicle for taking the crops to the wholesale market, which will be, we haven't exactly decided, but it'll be a sort of long trailer and a sort of 4x4 or small van sort of thing. And in terms of collecting the waste, we'll have one larger vehicle, possibly with a trailer, an HGV. So we won't, so that will be one lorry.
Minimal is what that sounds like to me.
Sorry?
That sounds minimal to me.
I don't think it'd be very much. I don't think you really know. I mean, it's a bus route. I mean, I wouldn't want to underplay it. Council have to go through what the council have to go through, but it's not going to create a whole load of traffic. I don't think.
And you're thinking up to 12 jobs?
Hopefully, yes. Around approximately 12 jobs. Don't hold me to whether it's 12 or 10 or 14, but around 12 jobs.
Any other questions? Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know how many questions. Sorry.
Sorry, the period of the construction.
Construction, actually, the funny thing is when you actually look at cost plan, like I've been looking at for far too long, the greenhouse itself is extremely cheap, and the greenhouse will go up in about sort of 4 weeks, 6 weeks. It's not actually a greenhouse; it's a plastic film, double plastic film with this inflated air in the middle. But it's things like the anaerobic bit at the back. I think it will take in total about 6, 7, 8 months.
Thank you.
Okay, one more?
I guess I don't know into what level of detail one should get at this point, but I would just say in terms of the access and the road there, just to flag up locally that it's a very vulnerable stretch of road, and CMEX in Barrington used to have a policy of not allowing its lorries to go down that road at all.
Right.
Because there are a couple of blind bends there.
Yes.
I almost hit somebody on my bike. It was Nick Davis the other night. He didn't have any reflective clothing on or any light on him, and he was walking toward Meldreth on the opposite side of the road, and I was cycling, and I didn't, you know, there are incidents like that, and people walking back from Shepreth Station to Meldreth, because it's as close to a lot of Meldreth, or closer than Meldreth Station. There's a lot of, so, and there's no safe.
I mean, as I say, we're not.
So
we're not in terms of. I don't think we're creating an awful lot of traffic. I let everyone make their own mind up. I wouldn't want to tell people what to think. But what we are doing is the existing access is there, and we're moving it to there, which is actually increasing the sight line. So the sight line's looking.
It's the other side of the road.
The sight line's looking east. We're actually pretty good the whole way through. But from here, it's not very good looking west. So we're just proposing to just shift it 20 yards or something, which is going to make a big difference. I mean, the final. I mean, it is around 12 jobs. So I mean.
I mean, I think those questions about access will come up.
I'm sure they will.
Okay,
They
so
always
thank
do.
you.
Yeah,
Thank you very much
get
indeed.
some more hard questions.
Thank you very much. Sorry.
Right.
Cheers. Right, sorry. I didn't think that was going on like that. Right, okay. Anything else from the public? No, okay, fine. Right. 329. County and district councillors. Who wants to go on first, ladies?
Right.
Susan.
Thanks. I did want to say I wasn't able to be at John's funeral today, and what fantastic parish council chairman he was. He took over from you, and he was so fair and so decent, and we had a very difficult time back in those days, and he was really great to have at the head of the table. And I do remember that when he learned that he was ill, he decided to devote his time to his family, and it's so good that he did that. So anyway, I have lots of good memories. He used to repair my car as well. And then I didn't have this in my report, but just in response to David's question about, why should I pay my council tax if I'm not getting the kind of service that I would expect? And it's hard every month to sound like a broken record about council finances, but Cambridgeshire is not alone. This is a problem all over the country. But we have, severe pressure is almost a better word than cuts, because we depend on government grant and council tax to be able to spend money on public services. We're not allowed to raise council tax above a certain level, above 1.99%. The population is growing, and more importantly, the population is aging very quickly. I've had a lot of casework lately involving very frail, elderly people. I think I mentioned last time somebody who needed to access services at Fulbourn, profoundly disabled man, and his transport budget has been cut by a third. So he's only able to go to Headway, which is brain injury services, once a week rather than twice a week. And so these sorts of cuts behind our daily lives and potholes and bins and things is having a horrible impact in all sorts of ways. And I don't think anybody thinks these are acceptable cuts. Nobody does. And the problem is that the way councils are funded. I mean, there's not enough. We are at the mercy of grants, and then we have only a limited amount of money we're able to raise, but our costs are going up. And the council, people say, it is going to change into something we don't recognize anymore. It can't actually continue to be what we've always known it to be. It cannot provide public services anymore. And it's happening so fast that there's a danger that decisions don't get made very well. There are lots and lots of people who retire early, and then you don't have the continuity of staff. So the whole mess around park and ride charges is an example of how badly something was handled, because it was done way too quickly and almost in panic. And if they hadn't made those charges, they were going to be cutting children's centres. It's that kind of level of chaos, really. So there will be a lot more of that. And this year we were expecting to have our road gridding reduced from 45% of the network down to 30% of the network. And by some luck, we were able to prevent that cut. But next year, or the year after, it most certainly will happen. And Tripwell Recycling Centre, I wouldn't be surprised at all if it goes. Well, what about that? Where are we supposed to take our stuff? And at that point, Royston will not have us, because they don't exist to fund Cambridgeshire residents. So the county has 9 recycling centres. By law, it only has to have 2. The nearest one is Milton. And so there are all sorts of reasons why a particular centre might be vulnerable. Triplo is the only one where we have to pay to lease the site, so there's an added expense there. So I could go on, and but I think I would say that it's social care and people who are vulnerable where the most appalling casework is happening, and it's really hard. It's really hard because people bring problems, and it's going to be so hard to help that person, and in ways that are just so important. So anyway, it's a good question. Okay, then on to the regular stuff here. The Mill Bridge weight limit sign, where is it? Where's that sign that says what the weight limit is?
Just before you get
before the bridge.
Okay, just in front of...
Or straight up in front of you, roughly.
Yeah. So Mike Cooper came to inspect it, and he couldn't, for some reason, he didn't see the sign. Okay, he is basically... No, I don't want to embarrass Mike. He answered the question, and he said, where's the sign? And I thought that's where it was. I will let him know. He did that today. So he will come and look again.
Trained to look.
I don't have a... Poor Mike. He's got 27 villages to look at.
He told me that 20 years ago.
It's true. It's true. He'll probably retire next month too.
Okay.
It looks as though we are going to get some surface dressing for Falmere Road, hopefully on both sides of the A10. It's on the transport delivery plan list of schemes. Only 2 villages of the 6 I represent have anything happening next year: Shepreth, Falmere Road, and Foxton Station Road. This is not the kind of road resurfacing you'd like. It's the kind with all the little bits of gravel, and they are doing that everywhere they can, because if a road is in a certain state, it can extend the life of the road by about 8 years. And it's cheap, and they can do a lot of roads like that, and it's sort of, you can almost look at it as an emergency measure to prolong the life of roads. It also, though, reduces skidding. It makes the road much safer. So it's not pretty, it doesn't smell good, it's not good for bikes and all that, but hopefully we'll get it. Meldrick hasn't had anything for about 6 years. Shepreth, I don't know why we're so lucky. We've had so much done in Shepreth. Sorry?
Not where we live. You can't walk down Dunsbury Turnpike for the holes.
Well,
and
I just noticed I noticed the bus stop shelter has been put in, which is really nice. Yeah, well, we'll take what we can get, and we just have to keep fighting for it. We will hear officially about the Double Yellow Lines for Frog End near the junction. I've seen the money on a list to be approved. They can't write to you until that list is approved on the 20th of February. I've also seen on a list to be approved a scoping report for the Frog End A10 junction itself. And I think I told you a couple of months ago that I'd gone to talk to the highway safety officers, and they're really, really concerned, particularly with all the speculative planning applications and the impact on the Frog End junction. The Melbourne Endurance Estates, who are applying to do the 200 homes in Melbourne, did a detailed analysis of the Frog End junction and determined that there would be no impact because there's plenty of capacity. They didn't look at the accidents. So I flagged that up in the South Cambs planning application, and Shepreth might want to take a really keen interest in the Melbourne application. If you want, I'll send you my list of,
that'd be helpful.
and you can just say, you can just copy and paste. So another bit of funding that I think has a good chance of coming through is the City Deal. The City Deal first tranche of funding for sustainable transport infrastructure. It looks like the whole of Cambridge to Royston is going to, sorry Cyril, but we're going to get more cycles, much even better.
Well,
We're going to
just-
get continuous.
Just ask them to use the path, please.
Well,
Nothing wrong with paying for 300,000 for a path that nobody uses.
I'll take you
All-
on it. Well,
almost
it
nobody.
needs to be continuous. That's the problem.
Yeah, I know.
I'll take you with me on the 29th of January to
That's
the next
not-
cycle campaign meeting at
Is it going to
Harston.
be in here?
No, Harston.
You have to get your penny farthing out.
I have had a complaint from somebody who was walking on the cycle path and then he got run over by a cyclist. Is it a cycle path or a path?
It's dual use. That's what it's. They're all meant to be wide enough.
Is this to help take your rubbish to Royston?
Yes.
Jackie's husband takes their rubbish to Triplo in a bike trailer. He did a few years ago.
I've done there him, yeah, I did for a while.
Yeah, that's part of the reason. That's part of the reason. Then I wanted to say that the County Council, I know I've mentioned it, has this new cross-party committee system, which sounds very plain and boring, but it's really great. I never would have expected you could say that in a political environment like that, you've got everybody working together, but you really do. And there's no cabinet in charge, one-party cabinet anymore. There's a proportional number of councillors on each committee from all the different parties. And you find yourself sitting in a room with people that you wouldn't before, and you've got to thrash out how the gridding is going to work. You've got to do that together. And it is working incredibly well, and it's why we got the gridding solution worked out. And we're spending hours and hours and hours doing all this work that isn't actually political at all, and that's the whole point. Why should it be? And at the last meeting we had 2 policy changes that everybody, that were voted through. One of them is that, this is for parish councils to sort of be aware of, if there is a big new planning application that doesn't have a sustainable transport link to serve that new population, the County Council is instructed not to support it. And that sounds dead obvious, but you need to strengthen that kind of guidance, and it hasn't been strong before. So one of the criticisms of the local plan was Bourne Airfield is supposed to get, is it 3,000 houses? And how are they going to get into Cambridge on Mattingly Road and the A428? Well, with this policy in place, the County Council wouldn't be allowed to give its support to the local plan. It would have to come up with a good, a good transport link. So that's one, and then the other one is that we are going to be taking a much more serious look at community transport, which again might sound like it isn't something that comes into everybody's everyday life, but for people who are isolated, we know how important that is. And we're going to be making a case to the NHS to show them how much money we are saving by all the volunteer drivers who are taking people to the doctor, to go shopping or whatever. Those people are able to live independently, they're less likely to become depressed and ill, and they don't need expensive NHS transport to get to a doctor's appointment. So that's the kind of work that we're doing, because the community transport budget could just completely disappear, and then Royston and District Community Transport won't have any money to reimburse its drivers for the miles they do. So that's the level of, that's how bad it is. Royston and District Community Transport would really like any new volunteers to help drive on this scheme. And if you only have a small amount of time, or if your time is irregular, if you're busy at certain times of the year or whatever. This isn't directly.
I have signed up this week. I'm back on there again.
Fantastic. Okay, great. Well, it's really, really good.
Do you want to try and press gang some volunteers?
Yes.
That was the last one.
I have to say, Shepreth is really great. Shepreth there are always volunteers from Shepreth. So if this interests you, it's really fun because you get to know.
It is a lovely thing to do. You meet fantastic people. It's wonderful. I met, that's how I know all the old folks in Shepreth, and it's great. You hear lots of lovely stories, and they're brilliant people.
Well done.
Yeah. But when I did it just with Shepreth, that was just Shepreth people. But with the Royston thing, that you can go to different villages, and so it's not always just Shepreth.
of course. It could be surrounding villages as well, but it's a lovely thing to do.
But it's strength in numbers that's keeping this
Yeah.
going.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Susan.
Oh, can I
Thank
ask a
you.
question?
Yeah, sorry, Fraser.
Going back to the rubbish and the recycling centre closes, I feel this is going to lead to a lot of fly tipping.
Oh,
How's the county council? They're doing it to save money, but isn't this going to cause issues where they have to chase up fly tipping?
Yes.
And take people to court, etc.
Yes.
If they find evidence of
Yes.
who's done it?
But it's almost, basically, you've got a pile of cash on the table, and that's all you've got. Then you've got all these public services you've got to fund, and there isn't enough money. It's like that. And so you're getting to this problem. Who in their right mind would think this is a good idea? Nobody.
Yeah, but if people are fly tipping and they haven't got the money, how are they going to deal with it? They're just going to leave it there because it's going to cost money, isn't it?
Our society is going to have real problems. Yeah.
It's going to pollute the environment.
So, to save money, they haven't collected, they've reduced the bin collections because, and they found a way of coping with that by allowing us to have those bags. So they will be doing things more awkwardly. The reason they've targeted the black bin is that by and large, the black bins have a lot less in them than the blue bins.
Well, over Christmas.
Yeah, over Christmas. If they have to choose, if they have to make a priority list, they're going to, the black bins, the evidence is there, the black bins don't have as much in them. So they're going to be making decisions like that.
Do you think volunteers will be eventually used at these tips?
No.
We'll just close them down.
Let me just say, there's not a plan now to close them, and we're looking. What they're doing is renegotiating their entire contract with Chespa.
Right.
But that is definitely a possibility.
If you go down to 2, it's probably not enough.
I don't think it would go down to 2, but it doesn't. But they could. I think they're looking at maybe 3, and I think Triplo is one of them.
Okay.
Triplo, just a quick one. Triplo Recycling Centre employs 2 people. When anybody goes up there, they'll see 5. 3 are volunteers.
Oh, right.
They go up there and give them a hand because they've got the lads used to work there, got me every done and need something to do, so they go up there during the week and give them a hand.
Okay, thank you, Susan. Thank you very much. Philippa.
More misery for me. Although a sort of good news story to begin with. I reported last month that the government have reduced, the local council has reduced the amount that we should have to pay if we want an energy survey carried out to our property, down from around £80 to £29. So I thought I would test how this worked, and I've had a survey carried out on my house just before Christmas. The chap from a company called Climate Energy, which is the company that won the contract for South Cambs, came. He spent a couple of hours, asked me lots of questions about my home, some of which I could answer and some of which I didn't have a clue. And I had a preliminary report there and then, and I'm awaiting a full report. I now understand that he will report and then suggest what I might like to spend on my house, and I hope that we would spend that money with his company. But it was not at all a hard sell. I explained that I was doing it out of curiosity and to be able to report back to residents, and he was absolutely fine on that basis. I explained that I wasn't likely to be interested in many of his products because of the nature of my home, but that was fine as well. So I will report finally when I've got the paper report in front of me, just so that I can give you the whole timeline of what that's like as an experience. But I don't think that £29 will be on offer for very long. It'll go back up to 80. So if you're interested in doing it, then I can provide you with a telephone number. Yeah. Susie was explaining how the larger developments will have to have a sustainable transport strategy and provision. However, on a smaller scale, the government has announced changes to revise the threshold for the number of dwellings or the aggregate size of the development from their previous levels to now allowing applications for up to 10 dwellings or 1,000 square metres, whichever is the smaller. before triggering a requirement to provide affordable housing or developer contributions. So this is very bad news for villages, particularly with multiple smaller sites. So even if a development now does meet the threshold for being eligible for a developer contribution, we're talking Section 106 type money here, so that's, everybody understands what that is. It's where the developer has to pay into the community in consideration of the number of additional people they're bringing to the community and the additional pressures that will put on the community. That used to be how the developer was required to think and pay. Now, if they're required to pay, it's only going to be site specific. So it's only going to be widening the access or ensuring there's a green space within the development. And for smaller developments, there won't be any requirement on the person developing the site. The immediate impact of those changes has been that I don't think anything has affected Shepreth and I don't think anything has affected Meldreth, but in certain communities, developers have withdrawn their applications to resubmit them so that they are not liable to pay these contributions. Or require them to provide affordable homes either. So that is a very retrograde development. Similarly, pressures on planning. The government's autumn statement announced that it is stepping in to fast-track phase 2 of the North Stowe development, which is this massive development up in the northwest of Cambridge. This means that the planning department at South Cambs will be under increased pressure, and we know that it's already under tremendous pressure, having been understaffed for quite some considerable amount of time. The revised deadline is March, so I'm anticipating that will have an impact on the times for processing planning applications. My next council surgery is on the 2nd of February, Monday the 2nd of February, between 1:30 and 2:30 p.m. at the meeting room upstairs at the Plough. But if anybody wants to contact me in the meantime, please don't hesitate to do so.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Susan. Thank you very much. Right, I'm going to ask if we can do something now. We've got a young lady here desperate to do a presentation on web, and I'm sure we've basically taken a bit longer there than I thought we were going to. And if nobody's got any objections, I think it would be fair to let her bring forward item 397 now. As I say, if nobody's got any objections to that. If anybody's got any objections now? No? Can we do that? That's a good idea. We're a good idea. Sorry.
That's no problem, thank you.
Okay, and I'm sorry, I'm awful. Maria will introduce you in bits and pieces. Yes, that's exactly what I wanted. This is Karen from Morden Web Design. Obviously we spoke to various people, or Maria did, with regard to our website, and we said we'd get somebody along here to tell us what they can do and how we can do it and how we can drag ourselves into the 21st, second century or whatever it is. Thank you very much.
You've made a good start. You have got a website. Which
we have.
this
The trouble is you can't access it on iPads and bits
beautiful
and
evening website just here.
Yeah.
Okay, as Tony said, I'm from Morden Web Design. We're a small company in Steeple Morden, hence the name. And we've done a number of websites, including other parish, council, village websites. As Maria requested, I've made a proposal to the parish council, of which everybody should have had a copy. I do have copies here if people want to have a look at that.
You can,
and
yeah.
Maria asked me to come here to run through pretty much what we proposed. So as we said, you've already got a website. My understanding from Maria was that you would like to have a newer looking website that was a bit more modern. Particularly now, everyone's using all sorts of different devices to access websites, namely iPads, and smartphones, etc. From that, and I don't know this myself because I haven't tried it, I guess your current website is not what we call responsive, which means that it resizes itself to the device accordingly. So if I went on my phone and looked at your website now, bits would be cut off and people wouldn't be able to read it.
You can't access our website through iPhones or iPads.
And then it's even worse. Than
It needs flash. It needs flash, so it won't work on an iPhone.
Right. Okay. Well, I do know that you use a product that I'm familiar with called Wix, which has been around quite a long time. But I don't think they're keeping up with technology on the designs that they offer, etc. So what we have proposed is a website that would replace this. It would be fully responsive, so it would work on add things, take things away, add documents, change photos, change text, anything, through an administrator level access. You'd obviously keep the domain name that you already have, shepreth.org, and this website will be entirely replaced. We've assumed that you would fit into one of our packages, which comes out at a price at £649 plus VAT, and for that you get up to 20 pages on your website. You get it fully designed and launched, go live, tested, and obviously we would work with you to create or transfer any content that you want. What often people do when they replace their website, they use it as an opportunity to look at whether the content they currently have on their website is appropriate still. Because often you haven't looked at it for a very long time and it's got stuff on there that you don't need anymore. Equally, it's got a lot of stuff on there that you need and you haven't got. So that package includes 20 pages. Looking at your current website, that's ample. And also 5 email addresses. I don't know how your email works for your parish council, so that's something we could talk about. We've got some examples. I didn't accept quite so many people, so I only brought soup. So you can pass these around. These are examples of websites we've done. Okay. These are all fully responsive CMS websites. You do websites as well.
Sorry, I'm a bit stupid as well. Fully responsive is...
Just itself to the...
It will work on anything.
It works on anything, fine. Okay.
So if I'm on my PC, it's this big.
Yeah.
So if then I look on my smartphone, it knows.
Yeah, okay.
And it will go, and it'll look the same, smaller.
Have you done any parish councils then?
Yes, so the very first website we did was Steeple Rawdon Parish Council. Well, village website. The parish council look after the village website. So that was our very first website. We also
an example of that one.
No, because that's not actually using this technology which I'm proposing. It's an older technology. It was done several years ago.
We couldn't pitch that.
What there? I don't go ask them. But I don't believe that site's fully responsive because it is before iPads existed.
Right. Yeah.
So they probably need an update too.
Yeah.
And you would not embark on doing a new website now and not make it work on iPhones, etc. because that would be silly, because that's the future.
Yeah.
You know, so you would have to get one.
And 20 pages is enough, is it?
Well, you've got, I don't know how many is there, Maria?
I don't know what goes on the page. I mean, you've got pictures, accounts, minutes, agendas, minutes.
The agendas are all on one page. Anything that opens up as a document or a photo.
It's a heading page.
Yeah.
I think you should probably, in my opinion, is reduce the top line here and have more underneath.
Maybe
having it all there.
Yeah. If you run into additional pages, it's only a few pounds a page for extra. So you know, it's not like you are doubling the cost because you might have
I just
another
wondered how much you got on a page.
As much as you want.
Well, that's quite a lot.
But you would have all your agendas and minutes perhaps on one page, for example. You know.
Could I ask a question? How do you future-proof what you provide now against new technology coming up in the future?
Well, normally these the systems we use are fully migratable to new products as they come along. This responsive thing has been the most revolutionary thing that's happened in recent years. Right now, I can't see anything coming along that's that dramatic to make it so this website won't work on technology coming along in the future. To be fair, you know, a website should not be seen to exist for 10s and 20s of years, because actually the look and feel of it will actually become outdated anyway. You know, it shouldn't be seen as a kind of forever investment anyway. You know, there isn't, as far as I know, any technologies that are coming along that are that dramatic to need to replace it. So you should certainly see quite a number of years out of it as a platform to use. I can't think of anything to say. Most of the work we do is local. Pretty much all the work's done by me. And I work from home in Stephen Morden.
So, £649 gets our website,
yep.
all up and running,
yep.
all singing, all dancing,
yep.
and then it goes wrong or there's a problem. Do you maintain it? Where do we go from there? What happens from a maintenance point of view? Or
so that price includes all first year of operation.
Right.
That means hosting where it lives and to fix any problems if it goes wrong.
Right.
After 1 year, we have an annual fee.
Of what?
That varies depending on the package you want.
Right.
It's
Roughly.
from, I can't remember, so it's here.
Oh, 39.
Yeah, it says it here, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
So it can go from 39
to
£250,
all depending on what we want.
depending on the level of support you want. When a website's gone live, it doesn't really go wrong. The only thing that goes wrong with it is if
We put the wrong thing
if
on.
the hosting goes down, but they have a 99.999% up rate anyway, and so that the chances of that being a problem is limited.
So when you say it's all working the first year, who does the loading of the data on? You or us?
So for the
all the agendas, putting them on,
so
who does that?
To start with, for the go live, that will be part of this development fee.
Right.
Working.
So you do that physically,
we do that.
put all that information.
After it's gone live, adding new stuff will be added over to.
So you transfer everything we've got and get it all singing, all dancing.
Yeah.
We can put a photograph of Cyril on there.
Yeah.
Click on to him and it would go straight to his email address and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could be really modern and look good and trendy and as if it's a good place to be.
And if you want to look at examples where we've done Royston cycles, that's a recent development.
Really?
Yeah, they're on the list.
It's in prayer school, they've got a brilliant one.
And for a maximum of £149, you'll hold our hands for a year and beyond.
Yeah. But the idea of this kind of website is that you don't rely on us and you are able to add minutes and that kind of thing, or add new photographs.
Yeah, but we have found that we do need support.
Yeah.
And if it's lacking, it's a problem.
I think with it's just the website we've got is a little bit old. It's a bit old, out of date, and therefore you do need a bit of support with that. But I mean, if you've got something, you know where you're going straight away. It's not going to be so difficult.
Yeah, I also should add that each site we do as this. I write a user-specific manual just for you, and I deliver face-to-face training for those that are going to take on the updates.
Do you? Cyril?
Okay, there's a little joke going on here. I know, it's like, you're obviously a web guru, yes?
I just fell asleep.
I know this sounds stupid, but this, I mean, there's now eye watches. I mean, does it work on that? I mean, these look like Tesco's reading glasses. They're actually Google glasses. But, you know, I mean, where does it start? Where does it stop? It's just iPads and iPhones, basically. I know that's the main thing. But these are going to be the things that are coming along, aren't they? These big watches. No. They're not. No? Alright, sorry. No, I don't know. I'm out of touch already. Okay.
I mean, you've got to go with what's going to be the mainstream, which is a normal PC, a laptop, an iPad, a device, notebook, and a...
I'm getting a bit carried away now.
You are getting a bit
I'm getting a bit carried away. Okay, fine. Alright then.
So I guess if you've read the proposal,
we can read this proposal. We can look at Stephen Morden's site, although that's a little bit out of date. We can look at Royston Cycles, which is one that we've just done. And we've got those listed there, and we can all take a peek and have a look and play about. Okay, fine. Any questions of Karen while we've got her here, Douglas?
No, I'm very excited about the whole prospect.
Jimmy.
So as long as you've got the internet connection, a Wi-Fi connection, put it on any device in the house.
Yeah, because you're on the internet.
Yeah.
So I put it on my telly.
And if you've got the if you've got an internet TV.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do the Wi-Fi
Yeah.
and the internet connection.
Yeah.
So we
But you can do that with
Yeah, you do it with any website, yeah. Susan, sorry, yes?
Well, just something, the county council, they are following this open source policy, is that what it's called? That basically most information held by councils is public information.
Mm.
So the idea is that if your website can host absolutely everything
Get
you've
everything
got,
on it, yeah.
then the whole cost of freedom of information,
Disappears.
which doesn't need to be there,
Yeah.
goes.
Yeah, we have quite a lot of information on our freedom of information page. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, it seems like a really useful.
So the more we can get on there, basically. I mean, what we want to do is get everything on the website, so you know everybody's got access to everything.
But you could do that with what you've got now.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, I don't think it's as easy as that uploading it all and everything, is it? But anyhow, that's what we want. But anyhow, the problem is you can't access it because everybody wants to access through iPads and iPhones. They can't access it anyway. I mean, I can't. I can only get on it if I get home onto a laptop.
And that's your main issue.
Yeah, yeah, it's access to it, really. Okay, any other questions, Teresa? Mr. Hanford, because you're a Mr. Kenzie.
Where did we manage before?
Before what?
Did you have a brochure?
Yeah? You had chalk and slate for yourself?
People used to go up down to the notice board, didn't they, and have a look?
Yeah, well, actually, yeah, absolutely.
As part of
Yeah.
the package,
Yeah.
you get an electronic sort of thing on the front of this building.
Yeah, that's right.
Scroll.
That'd be lovely, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And you can
Oh, I
just
thought
touch
that
it and find out where everything is.
Well, I think what we'll do is we can have a look at this. Thank you very much.
May I ask some questions?
Yes, you can. Sorry, yeah.
So,
yeah.
obviously you're looking at this. Have you invited any other people to talk to you?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
It's a few cheaper.
I find that difficult to believe. Yeah, we're very
just have to
very
believe
good
it.
price.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're very good price. And what's the decision timelines?
Well, I think what we've got to do is we've got to mull through this. We'll then have to put it on the agenda next month where we're going to have to make a decision as to what we're going to do because we're just going round in circles on it. So we'll have to take a decision as to what we want to do. But I think have a look at it, read the proposal, have a look at the play about with the websites, and then I think we've got to make a decision.
Okay, I think Miriam said I have commitments until April after Easter.
I think April would be a good target for the new year.
Yeah. Oh, so you couldn't do it before April? Oh, fine. Okay. Well, no, that's fine. Yeah.
And I hate to say it, but you know that's just where we are at the moment.
So you're very good and busy, that's what you're saying.
Yeah, that's fine.
Or something like that.
Always employ somebody who's busy.
Yeah. Any questions from the public? Because it's you guys that use it as well. Any? I don't know.
Well, I don't have a problem at the moment
No?
with the website.
Okay, right.
I do it on my computer, so.
Okay.
We're talking about open access and freedom. Would there be the possibility of having a secured area if there were some private documents that you store?
Yeah, we can make certain pages hidden unless you logged in as a certain
Admin.
login. Yeah, absolutely. So if you wanted to just share some documents between the parish council, you could have a secret kind of secret.
I was going to ask that one.
Yeah, that's all part of this.
That would save the folder.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Getting lost in transit.
Just what might be useful is a bit techy this, but Susan mentioned open source. The technical product we use to do this is called Joomla, and it's an open source language, which means that it's an open developer language. Yeah.
Just looking at Tony and the Craddock.
What it means is you don't have to. You can't actually restrict it in any way because it's open source.
Mm.
Did you get that?
Yeah, I was wondering about open source. That was
brilliant.
That was also.
We've all heard stuff, blind new science.
It's on the tip of your tongue as well, isn't it? Yeah. That's fantastic.
But do feel free to email me.
If we've got any questions, we've got your details here. So if I play around, can I email you or ask you some questions? And anybody else can. We can circulate this round and we can have a play round and you'll get bombarded with emails from us and you'll think, is that okay?
Yeah.
Any other questions? Karen, thank you very much.
No problem. I mean, can I leave it?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
As interesting as this is.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's why I brought you forward. Thank you very much indeed.
That's why my husband's the chairman of our parish council. So.
Is he really? Okay. He knows what it's all about. Sorry?
May I have a copy of the website?
Yeah.
There's one here. There you go.
Yeah. I'll be interested in your
Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you very much.
Thank you very much
Thank
indeed.
you, bye-bye.
Okay, can we all have a little play around with that then and put that on the agenda for next month as to decide what we're going to do? Okay, I'll go back to the running order now. So 393, reports and updates. Village Hall. Douglas, anything to report?
No, I don't think we've had one since the last one.
Okay.
We did have one, but we didn't do very much. It was just 3 of us or 4 of us.
No, I think we reported on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No? Okay,
Nothing,
right. Neighbourhood Watch, Teresa?
Nothing. I haven't had anything from the police or anything.
Really?
Good then, isn't it?
Been quiet. It's good.
Yeah.
But didn't you say you'd had, you'd had something? I haven't had anything directly, but you said you'd heard.
It was through the PSCD, the little local policeman. 17th of December, 2 cars were stopped in the village car park and both had drugs.
Oh right, did anything?
Both been addressed, both been arrested.
Oh right.
Now they've moved to Meldrith.
Oh, good.
Oh right.
Then they go to Meldrith. Just try them on a bike circle.
Yeah, come back again. Okay, Maid, Susan, have you got anything to tell us?
They started again. The youth club started on Tuesday evening.
Yeah, it did, didn't it? I had an email.
Yeah, and they look to be eligible for some more grant funding.
CD.
I saw that.
Yeah.
And bombarded by CD.
So yeah, they're running.
Okay, good.
Great.
Jimmy, Rec Warden, anything to report?
Just a few.
Yeah.
I would apologise about this before I start, ladies. No dogs on the wreck.
No dogs.
Willers Mill gate. Coming straight through that gate, they're taking the dogs for the
We
walk.
never shot it, that's why.
No, then we should have come and get a sign put on their gate. I asked them to put a gate.
Do they need a gate?
No, their gates never should, but people are bringing the dogs from there into Willers and out to Willers Mill, straight on the recreation ground.
So you have dogs allowed sign on the gate?
Read another sign.
We'll get a sign.
Say
Okay.
no dogs allowed.
Put another sign.
No dogs allowed, we'll get a sign and put on the gate.
Never used to be a gate there.
Because
on the gate, the sign.
Yeah, put a sign on the gate.
Yeah, put a sign on the gate.
Because
Yeah.
I found
Is that
over the
okay?
Christmas period,
I said we'll put it to
there's been a few mishaps on the recreation ground. By the time I'm getting down and stood on my chicken roof and hollered over the fence, I'm getting a few sarcastic remarks back, never mind. The other one is the rubbish is built up over the Christmas New Year period on the village rec. And I also mentioned about the 17th of December. Lost property items being found on the recreation ground. I have something that belongs to somebody who must be in the village. If anybody knows who they are, could you retrieve them and tell them to see us? That is the second
It
pair.
is quite sophisticated.
And they have been washed. I picked them up with the tongs, I took them home and I washed them. They are a size 12.
Oh, they
Now,
won't fit me.
it is a bit of a joke, but we've got young children in the village. And they'll see somebody in the village car park going hammering tongs. An old couple, something like that. So the top and bottom, what I think is, we need a light to stop this in the village car park.
That's what we're just going to come to, that's on the agenda.
But not yours, Susie.
No. I was only going to say that we found a black pair at Meldrith Station
Oh, really?
vegetable garden.
Well, that is the
Wasn't I
second.
busy?
That is the second pair I've had in a month. I threw the first ones away because these were red. They look pretty. I thought, but anyhow, you mean size 12. If anybody in the village has lost a pair, if they come and see us, I will obviously give them back. That is a joking part of it, but we've got people doing this in our village, in the village car park. We've got old people, we've got young kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We've got the light coming out.
It doesn't cost anything to go and get a hotel room. You know what I mean? So that's what the top and bottom is. But like I said, lost property.
Yeah.
I'm collecting.
Okay. They're not your size, Doug, are they?
Size 12.
No lights there.
They weren't near this fence, were they? Okay, right, thank you, Jimmy.
We collect these for the lost property box.
No, thanks.
Okay, financing check, just one, which is Clark's salary, £304 and a penny, December. Can I have a proposer for that? And a seconder? Thank you. If you'd like to sign the cheque. Clark's report, while that's being done. Yeah, Clark's report, while that's being
That's the
done.
invoice.
Yep, the invoice is there.
Okay,
Yep.
it's always there. Okay,
Maria.
clerk's report for January, meeting agendas, drafting notes, updating registers, displaying notices, updating website, responding to various inquiries and planning applications and complaints, finance, income and expenditure, bank reconciliation, issuing invoices, PAYE, precept, grass cutting tender, drafting January newsletter copy, reading various council documents, networking with clerks, liaising with the football team and the website design agency, and trying to follow up with Hills with regards to the maintenance fund. I received 110 emails and I sent 160.
Okay. Any news on Hills?
No, I've been trying to chase them with regards to the 13,000.
Nothing at all
I
from
spoke
him
to
yet.
him before Christmas and he said he would get back to me, but he didn't. So I've called again, left him the messages.
Okay.
So I'll be on the case.
We'll chase him again?
Yeah, I've only called yesterday.
Right, really want to try and get that one sorted out.
The good news is the footballers have paid.
Yeah, that's another.
Footballers are
we're
paid.
having a meeting.
Yeah,
Next
we've
week,
got that on.
yeah.
We're coming to that.
And they've given a list of fixtures.
Yeah, we're
unbelievable.
coming to that one. Okay, thank you. Right, 396 planning applications. We've got 2 planning applications in front of us tonight. The first one is Willer's Mill. Douglas, you declared an interest in this, so I don't know if you want to.
I'm not moving, but I'll keep quiet.
You're going to stay there, are you?
I won't say anything.
Okay. This is the erection of a 6 metre by 8 metre workshop and storage. So the existing workshop adjacent to the animal unit can be converted into a veterinary room. You've all seen the plans? We've had no objections.
No, I haven't received anything.
The only one quick one I had got on that is, if you look at Cyril's shed in his yard, that's about the size of that room they want.
Yes.
And it's right on, I've measured it, I've come in your yard and measured your shed. And the thing about it is going to be straight across the recreation ground, right against the fence.
It's quite imposing.
It is quite imposing, and the
It's
size
right
of it.
near the fence. I looked at it last week.
I went across and measured it, and I did it in feet, and it's about 24 foot by 20 foot.
It's bigger than it looks
That
on
is
that
so
plan.
size.
It's slightly.
Not feet. Yeah, feet.
Well, it's a big unit.
It's more than that, surely.
It's 6 metres by 9 metres, which
So
is
it's,
about
yeah.
26 foot by 20
So
foot.
6 by 8 metres.
It is some
6 by 8 metres. So this
size
of this room.
No, it's bigger.
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 It's bigger.
How many buses did you get it?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been in
Double
it.
from there.
I said it's right on the fence. It's going to be really.
It is a big unit on the fence. So you know, yeah.
Well, you can see where they've cleared the space to do it. If you look at it.
And it's right on the boundary of their land and the village right, so it's going to be.
Which is our land now.
Yeah, this is our land, and I think it's going to be a bit intrusive and it opposed to a big building stuck right.
Actually, yeah, should we? That's a very good point.
Yeah, because
We're neighbours, aren't we? The parish council own the land.
Yeah, I fully agree with they need a veterinary surgery and all the rest of it. Do they need something that large?
Well,
Well, they took advice from their veterinary surgeon, haven't they? I mean, I personally don't have any issues with it. They need it. They obviously they need the extra room, so their veterinary surgeon, if need to be, may have to do operations on site if it's an urgent thing, rather than take the animal to the surgery or whatever. So I don't personally have any issues with it at all.
But with them having a veterinary surgeon there, would they have the care that the people in the village who've got pets would be able to see their veterinarian there instead of finding somewhere else?
I haven't really considered that, to be honest. It's their veterinary surgeon.
It's their veterinary surgeon. Well, one presumes it's for the animals at Willer's Mill.
So I've got nothing against Willer's Mill, it's just the size of it and where it's going to be. It's right in your face. So you walk in the car park, you're going to see this big building.
Yeah.
With all the putting solar panels and everything.
That's what we
I'm going to butt in and say I'll put it in front of the gate.
That's what we see.
Yeah, I don't personally have any problems with it, to be honest. They need it, they need it.
Okay, do you want to go to a vote, or do you want to...
Is this building supposed to be the building where they're doing the procedures?
No,
If they
this
do them,
is
storage to allow it out somewhere else.
This is erection of a workshop and storage, so the existing workshop adjacent to the animal unit can be converted into a veterinary room. So this room here is workshop and storage they're talking about.
So where's the new veterinary area going to be within the...
I have no idea. There's an existing workshop on there somewhere that's been...
Is that little building?
Well, there was one here.
You
See, pulled that down. There was one a bit here. But
Well, that's where it's going to be, so...
If you go and look over the fence, they pulled that bit down off that corner.
Well, that's where it is.
Yes,
So
well, I know.
they're going to put that... It's gone.
That's why they started doing
But
it.
have they got planning for what will be the new veterinary surgery? Because that's...
Well, one assumes they're just converting an existing unit. But it says
It's
here...
not on here though, is it?
No, because that's not the application. What they're talking about here is a new storage facility.
Adjacent to, but there's no building
But
adjacent to it.
It's still a new...
Adjacent to the animal unit. Where's the animal unit?
It's not there.
It's not on here. So
I have no idea where the animal unit is.
It's referring to something that we haven't got any
Well, I
information on.
presume the animal unit is the tigers, the mountain.
Well, no, you're talking about a place where you're going to do
and everything
procedures,
there as well.
presumably. Not here. So where are they doing now and where they're going to do them?
I have no
Because
idea
that's
where the
by
existing
default
workshop
new,
is.
isn't it?
I think we need a bit more information.
We definitely need more information.
You don't know what's going on over here. If you walk down there, look at it, all there is a big space.
This is replacing it, something that doesn't exist.
Well, as I read the bits of paper the same as everybody else, and I thought it looked pretty straightforward and clear. But
Well, to me, it's just the erection of a workshop and storage unit. So the existing workshop adjacent to the animal unit can be converted into a veterinary room. But where that is, where you're asking me where the animal unit is, I have no
Where's the
idea.
planning for the new veterinary room?
Do you have to have planning to convert a room into
I
a
don't know, you
veterinary
certainly
room?
do if it's health, because you need to have registered premises, sluice, it's drainage, all sorts of things have to happen. So it depends whether they're talking about operations, that might just be occasionally an emergency. But if it by implication it's creating a veterinary room, it's a different entity altogether.
No, I bow to your superior knowledge on that one.
But it might not be appropriate with vets, but it's replacing a building that we don't know where that is or what that's doing. So.
But the planning in front of us is nothing to do with it's nothing to do with the veterinary surgery they're creating. What they're talking about here is a workshop and a storage area.
But wasn't it in the
Adjacent to-
accompanying bits of paper?
No.
underneath the council letter?
What the planning application is for the erection
So I
of
read
that.
those and it explained exactly what they were doing in those documents. It explained fully what they were intending to do. I read through all those documents.
Yeah, if you read through all that, it just says it.
Wildlife Park.
When I read it, I understood it was the workshop and storage.
It's the adjacent to, but there isn't
But that's a
anything
separate
that the
thing,
adjacent
isn't
to, it's gone.
Materials. Visitor
That's
car
not
parking,
planning
foul
stuff.
sewage. I mean, this isn't going to tell me where reasons. We need to relocate the workshop urgently on the recommendation of our veterinary surgeon, who has advised us that our existing veterinary room is too small for our present needs. The existing workshop will be better suited to this purpose, being double the size of the present veterinary room and its close proximity to the quarantine room. The existing veterinary room would then become a second quarantine room, so we can deal with more than one animal acquisition in 30-day period. It's becoming ever increasing issue due to comply with the Balai directive, don't know, which is a requirement of our zoo licensing. But I'm no wiser as to where the workshop is that they're converting into a veterinarian. But that, at the end of the day, is not the planning application in front of us. The planning application in front of us is, do we allow that building there to be erected as a workshop? If we then get another planning application in front of us for the conversion of a workshop into a veterinary room, we'd have to deal with that. So this is what we're dealing with. It's not what's happening elsewhere. This is the planning application in front of us.
Well, I think the situation of it right beside the fence. Quite nice, it's going to be nice one.
I mean, if we go back for more information, they're just going to say, well, that's what this is the planning application. What's happening elsewhere would be subject to other planning applications, surely. So, I think it's fairly straightforward. Do you think it's fairly straightforward?
Yeah, I don't have an issue with
Yeah.
that.
Okay, so we're going to take a vote on it? Yeah? Those in favour? Those against? Okay. So that's refuse.
Refuse, it's here. But yeah,
Okay.
just check we've got the right one.
Right. Okay. I'm now going to hand over to Mr. Hanford, and I'm going to leave the room.
Oh, excuse me, Tony, could you just stand up for this
Certainly.
one? Thank you. Does anyone have any comments to add on the refusal?
You got any comments to add to the refusal?
On the sheet.
I think it's just. I mean, I would like location too imposing on the recreation ground.
As soon as you walk on the recreation ground, that's what it is.
Because they might ask why.
The thing about it is, where my house is, straight across the rec, they put a new building, and their lights are on 24 hours a day.
Yeah. Okay, no, I just
With
wanted
all
to know for the form.
spanners and everything, we're getting it all the time. And if they put another building in place, it's going to be too imposing.
I think the letter may be my responsibility because I got a query and I directed probably the same person here. And I just to say that I've never had the allotments that I run in Meldres, which aren't parish council ones, so we just set our own rules really. We've never been Meldres specific, we've just been supplied.
I mean, this is obviously the rules that were set up when originally, when I presume there was a lot of people wanting allotments. I mean, there was waiting list for them, if I remember, years ago.
There was about 6 people waiting.
I mean, the problem you've got with our allotments is that there's no water there and things like that. I mean, I personally think that if we've got the ability to change it, we should let somebody use it. Because
I went to Foxton, because they've got allotments, and they've got 2 of theirs rented out to Horseman. Falmere
have got
them rented out, and the ex-chairperson of our parish council has got allotment in Falmere, because she couldn't get one in Shepreth. Now, the understanding I was believing from something around the internet, because I put in allotments, is if there's nobody in the village, the parish can hire it out to neighbouring villages.
Yeah, that's right.
I think.
I'm fully. If somebody wants to use it, then they're going to hire it out.
I personally think that if we change the standing orders, that if they're, I mean, say we've got them all let, and then there's a waiting list, that people from Shepreth get preferential treatment over people from outside the village. But if we've got vacant ones and nobody in Shepreth wants them, it was stupid not to get. A, we're going to get some money from them, not a lot, and B, it's going to tidy it up there. So if you've got somebody who's prepared to go up there with a machete and tackle the triffids that are at the back there,
and they're only going to pay for a year, so if you get pure people from Shepreth, you
we have the ability to do this. We've checked with Democratic Services, who've spoken with the legal section. We've got an email here from them saying that we've got the ability to change this. So I propose that we do. We change our standing orders, stroke rules and regulations, to say that if we have vacant allotments, then and somebody from an neighbouring village wants one, we let them have it. But I want to add on that, and I think we should add, that people from Shepreth get first choice if there's a waiting list. So I'm going to propose we do that. Do I have a seconder for that?
I'll second it.
Oh, everybody's seconding it. Okay, Teresa. Those in favour? Those against? Okay, that's fine. So can I leave that one with you?
Well, I'll amend it and circulate.
Okay.
I'll put you down
You
second because you were first.
Okay, right, 401, filming of the parish council or recording of the parish council. We've got to change our standing orders, because if you read our standing orders on the website, at the moment it says that filming and recording of the parish council is not prohibited. Obviously the law's changed.
It's prohibited.
It's not.
It's not prohibited.
No, at the moment it said it is prohibited. It's not allowed.
You want to change it?
Oh,
It's
sorry.
saying prohibited or permitted.
Whatever.
But Mr. Pickles.
But we've got to change our standing orders, I've been told.
6th of August decided it can be done for police, firemen, nurses.
Okay.
What?
You can film everybody.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I mean, basically, I think what we need to do is have a think about this. I think if we just want to have a general chat about it, anybody's got any concerns or bits and pieces that we could get. Maria then needs to investigate some standing orders and put something together so we can get it back and get it voted through at the next meeting and just get it onto our website.
What concerns will anybody have? I mean, it's the law. We can't.
It is the law. The one thing that happened I had after the last meeting was a member of the public accosted me and was moaning or complaining about the position of the camera. That it was taking up seats in the middle and she wanted to sit there, and also the fact that they were very uninclined to participate in the public forum because they weren't sure what was going to happen to anything they said or get uploaded on the website. Now I've checked with Patrick Adams, and you can't, if you come to a public meeting, you can't do anything about it, you're being recorded, etc, etc. The position of the camera, I've got a note here, with regard to the position of the camera, this matter is not covered by the legislation. So technically we could ask for the camera to be moved because it isn't covered by the legislation, the position of the camera.
But can I just make a point? If you have a journalist that comes in here with his camera, he will shoot from the best available vantage point.
I'm not disputing that. I'm just I'm just telling you what's been told to me and what I've found out.
I don't think we should be imposing conditions on people that film.
I was the only parish councillor that put a complaint out regarding filming. I found it intrusive just now.
But the camera's over there, it's not sort of round the table.
I've had too many cameras shoved up my nose in different places.
I don't, as I say...
It's me who complain, but the other thing I've got to ask is the parish council sitting here, if somebody records it and videos it, can the parish council ask for a copy of that recording for their archives for future reference? So we've got a copy of the video and the recording. So at 6 people, could we ask them to say, is it possible for you to give us a copy of your recording? Put in a box, sealed, signed, on the road. It's archived.
I doubt if you can force that.
Not forced it, can we ask?
Oh, I think you should, and I think they should comply.
Well, Mr. Elliott can I ask Mr. Elliott that same question if you don't?
If you wish to.
Mr. Elliott, if I said to you for the parish council, could we have a copy of your film for our archives, how would you feel?
I don't see a big problem with that, other than the cost of us putting all this kit together. So I don't think it's unreasonable.
Thank you very much, Mr. Elliott.
Okay. There are bits and pieces that he sent me with regard to disruption of the meeting, all the usual bits and pieces. So I mean, I think what we can do is we can actually put together, I think the reason we need to do it is because obviously the people that are filming need to know what the standing orders are, and in fairness the people attending also need to know what the standing orders are, the rules and regulations, what you can and can't do, etc, etc. I think if anybody's got any concerns, they need to email Maria. Maria then needs to run it past Patrick Adams, who is Democratic Services, and then we can write some standing orders that we can approve and put onto the website.
But basically, we've got to get our rules in line with the higher rules.
Which is them rules out.
Yeah, so that's basically what we've got to adopt. But if there's anything, because there are standing orders, we can, if we want to, adopt anything ourselves.
Could I ask David another question? You said, in view of how much all this has cost us, are you saying that if we wanted to film, you'd charge? That's what I thought.
Well,
I don't know if you picked that up.
Sorry?
Can't do that.
Well, there are two options, as far as we're concerned. There is a cost involved in producing all this and getting it all meshed together
we're
on.
Not arguing.
Sorry?
We're not arguing.
Okay.
That's obvious.
The other option that we would be quite happy to do on one of our websites is put it on for free, for all access, because that appears to be the trend.
Please not Twitter.
Sorry?
No,
Please
not
Twitter.
Not Twitter. Sorry, we're not. But on the website. Okay, well, and that wouldn't cost.
Okay, if Maria
But it would be a good idea to put it on our website.
Well, it can be uploaded.
Well, that's this is all. It hasn't been mentioned before, so I've got to give answers on the hoof side of things. Just on one question on the positioning. I've run this past a lot of people who are familiar with this law, and they said that, so that you've got reasonable positioning, it's where it's reasonably positioned.
Oh, absolutely.
Although it's not covered in legislation.
No, I understand reasonable position, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, as I say, what one person was concerned about the way the room was split, they were pushed to the back and all that sort of thing. And in fairness, David, obviously we've got to try and listen to everybody and listen to everybody's concerns and try and accommodate and keep everybody happy. Sorry, did you want to say something, Susan, quickly?
Yeah, I'm just used to having a camera at the county council meetings. I don't know if the district is doing it now. I don't
Not a camera, but I think it's recorded audio.
That's okay. It is quite discreet, I would say, and it also is directed at the person who's speaking, including a member of the public there. But it isn't completely focused on I don't know what that captures.
Everything.
No, it just captures you.
It captures the
Captures the table.
Does it capture
It doesn't. It does. If when you stand over there, it catches you a bit. But unless you move down there, it's only doing. It's so that if somebody wanted to see it, and they wanted to attend the meeting, they couldn't get here, it would be like they're sitting where we are. We don't phone any members of the public. We don't move it around. I mean, we could move it. We could move it quite easily, but we don't do that.
The only thing, I mean, I'm not sure how you would do it, is that it is quite a presence physically.
Well, you can't hold it all the time.
No,
you just couldn't do that.
of course not. But I just, the reason I mentioned the way they do it at the county councils, you kind of forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
But this is such a small room, and I mean, we're usually, we're in quite a big room, and it's at the other end of the room, and I don't know if there's any way of.
No, you can't go. I mean,
of putting it. Well,
there's
because
no space
it's right
there,
in the middle of.
Well, it's all this junk back here
There's
as
all
well.
the stuff
We
in
could be
the
further
corner.
back. It's not a problem with that. We've got to be.
We
mustn't include members of the public.
If you want further back, you could have members of the public here, and you could just come up over their heads at us because you put the tripod up and the camera down.
No.
Right?
No.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well,
I
anyhow.
don't personally have a problem with it. I think it's great for localism.
I did have a lady who wanted to come last month to raise a question, a member of the public, and she was too shy.
Yeah.
To come.
That is a problem. We fully accept.
I think that's the sad bit.
But when did she want to come?
During the to answer the question.
We only asked sort of at the last minute.
Well, I knew it was going to be filmed last time.
Did you?
Did you? Yeah. Wow.
Well, I think that's courtesy.
No, the parish council were.
We do
Yeah,
reports.
we would tell Susan to do it.
Yeah. Or on the
Yeah.
I mean, this lady said
PC.
she's shy anyway to come to a meeting. And a lot of people, I think, are quite shy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the spirit of openness is what it's about, obviously.
Yeah, I mean,
You should be supporting it 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's coming down from that direction.
Just because it's
Hold on, can we sorry, can we have one meeting? Sorry.
One meeting.
Sorry.
I only raised the question because the idea is to promote public participation, and I was just thinking about the position and the fact that it's not discreet, but if it was a little bit more in the background, it might, for some people who feel that it's intimidating,
they have no choice.
they might
They have no choice.
They have no choice.
If it was in the background, it would also get in the people in front of it. And that's what we're trying not to do.
Okay, well, I think that Maria is going to put together the basic standing orders that we can upload to our website. If anybody's got any bits and pieces they want put onto those standing orders, perhaps they could email Maria and we could go through them one at a time next month, and then we can approve them and put them, get them loaded up. Would that be okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good, excellent. Okay, where am I? Village Hall car park, lighting, Teresa.
Yeah, both the ladies that were concerned by the lighting problem and handbag getting stolen last month, I've had messages by both and they couldn't attend tonight, but they've asked me to relay the fact that it's so dark behind there at the moment, particularly with ballet lessons, and I know Lisa Russo, who teaches here, is concerned that they feel very vulnerable in the car park because there's no lighting.
When I came here tonight, there's a bulb in that floodlight, and it's on.
Bulbs have been put in today.
So we actually got.
But there's still not that much light in certain areas of the car park.
No, you're right.
We've
and
had
obviously,
sorry,
can I speak? Obviously, Jimmy has explained that there's other activities going on in parts of the car park that aren't lit. And I think, to be honest, we need to improve the lighting so we stop the drug dealing and we stop the intimate relations in cars in the back of the car park, and make it overall a safer place for all people that have to use that car park.
I agree. Yeah. You had a quotation, you got Balfour Beatty to look.
Yeah, I asked for a sort of a rough idea of how much it would cost to put a street light in, and they said 2,300. That's an actual street light though. That's what you're looking at.
That's what we're looking at, a street light in the middle with a proper light on at the top.
What your thoughts were, that was just to bring to the
They've
table.
got loads of old ones.
That's how much it costs.
I'd get one, but the windows have one.
But I didn't know whether you looked at the idea of a street light or some other kind of lighting. I don't know. I'm not sure.
think it's old.
To you, if you discuss that.
I mean, have we got any
Yeah.
posts that we could perhaps put more security lights on, that are light censored ones or something like that, that only activated when people enter the car?
I like the one on the hall.
Yeah, well, that one big up on the
Yeah.
hall one's there, but I mean, in that case, I don't know, we have to get if we've got a quotation from Balfour Beatty, and then we could also get perhaps, as you say, you know, some other people just to give us an idea on some lighting out there that's sensitive and comes on and off or whatever it does.
Get the electricity to it as well, isn't it?
Well, you got to, that's the problem with the Balfour Beatty, you've got to...
That's the biggest.
No, we don't have.
Electricians
Solar
come in to look
power.
at the...
Oh, solar power.
I can get...
Speaking signs in Mildred
I'll tell you what I can do.
power.
I'll tell you what I can do. If I get Mick Hills out here on the precept that there's a big job in the car park, and actually could he have a look at the telephone box at the same time and see what he says and see where he could position some lights on sensors or timers or however it's got to be. I'm not an expert in it. Should I do that? Let's see
I
what he
think
says.
that'd be a good idea, but we need
We
to
asked Balfour
explore it.
maybe what they're going to do with these old ones. We put one of them in there.
He said,
Yeah.
you asked them, the tenant said, by the time they get them down, they're all smashed
I
up.
think they smash them up.
I says, can you not leave a new one lying
They're
around,
all-
we'll borrow it.
Well,
You're
can
gonna
you
be
ask
nice.
Balfour Beatty what they do with the old ones? then?
Okay.
I'll ask them when they come.
Yeah. Okay. And I'll get him to look at that, as you say, some lights up on a pole or something.
I really do think, you know, we can't.
But he,
These ladies, you know, they come and pick the children up in winter and they feel vulnerable. We've got a drugs problem. If we put lighting out, you know, put it there and it's triggered by a car coming in or whatever, it's going to make people feel safer if they're in. If somebody's car is somebody's trying to break into the car, then obviously the light will come on because it's movement censored and things. And I just think it's better than leaving it in darkness.
Okay, I'll get Mick Hills out to have a look at it as well.
Okay.
Alright?
Yeah.
And we'll see what we can do and have a word with Balfour Beatty and see what they do with the old ones.
Okay.
we're going to try to get it bigger.
And then I'll report back on that next month. Is that
Yeah, and
okay?
then we'll have some idea of.
Okay, fine. Right, okay, correspondence received.
I have one bit of correspondence. I received a formal complaint yesterday,
Yep.
which I'm sort of dealing with at the moment.
Okay, no problem. I've not received any other correspondence. Anybody else? No?
That's the only correspondence I got.
Okay, invitation to members of the public to offer suggestions on topics for future debate. Mrs. Sorry.
Sorry,
Nichols,
somebody
sorry.
else put their hand up. I just want to say that Serinda came to visit us a couple of days ago and I told him about John Smith. So he drove down from Leeds to come to the funeral. And I believe he talked to Cyril about it. That
He did, yeah.
yeah, he suggested that because John Smith did so much when he was the chairman of the council, and on his watch, the streets sign was he got the money. He got help Serinda get the money from Comma and the street sign. He suggested a plaque. No, sorry, the village sign, not the street sign. And the seats, but he suggested a small plaque should be put on there.
Dedication, that'd be nice.
A dedication
If you
to...
make up your mind what you want, I'll get it done.
Well, no, it's
We'll
not
get
up
it
to
done.
me, it's up to the
We'll get it
council,
done.
not me. I don't mean from me, but I'm just
Hey.
passing on what Serinda said.
If you know what, you tell me what you want written on it and how big you want it and I'll fix
No,
it.
that's up to the council.
Yeah, it's up to
Yeah.
the council,
Well, whoever.
yeah, if they do.
Well,
It
let's
just...
do-
I'll put it on the agenda.
Yeah, put it on that and we'll deal with it for
that's
next
what I
month.
meant,
Yeah,
on
we'll
the
do that.
agenda,
Yeah. Yeah.
But he
Well,
says
we'll do it and
that
pay
he
for
did
it.
so much, he did the
That's a nice
fence
idea.
I'll sort it.
along the...
Somebody,
Name
could
and
anybody
right.
want to email through any suggested wording as well?
That's what
Okay.
I need.
Please?
I'll ask Serinda,
Well, fine. Can you get him to do it?
because
Yeah.
he knows what John did.
No problem
It's
at all.
very...
Okay, just run around the table. Jimmy.
Is it true there's going to be an election in May?
Yep.
I'm trying to think about that now regarding...
What, for us or general election?
No, not
Because
for
they'll be used, yeah, who cares for that?
Biden.
Is
They
it?
don't do
General
it.
election.
General election.
As far as I know,
Yeah. We don't pay for general election.
No.
It's out.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah, sorry, Douglas.
Well, have I got any further questions?
Yeah.
No.
Teresa.
to add.
Mr. Hanford, Mr. Kenzie.
Yeah, could I just have a word with the state? When I've been assigned for the bridge, the sign wants to be on the A10
Oh, I realise that.
before the trucks turn down the
I
Shepreth.
know.
Because
Yeah,
they get down here and they sit there and they look, shall I turn round or shall I chance it?
What he was saying is that he didn't, I don't know why he missed the existing weight
Once
limits.
they want to be on the sign that says Shepreth coming down here.
That's what I asked for.
Both
Okay.
ends.
Yep.
Right, okay, I'm going to have to ask ladies and gentlemen to leave now, please, because the next two items are going to be discussed